Welcome to the Wellbeing at Work podcast, where we help you optimize all aspects of well-being in the workplace. Welcome back to another episode of the Wellbeing at Work podcast. Today, it is a solo cast with me, your host, Dr. Cody Crockett. And in today's episode, we're talking about ergonomics and well-being. What the heck does ergonomics have to do with well-being? We're going to unpack that in this episode. It's actually going to be a very powerful episode and could possibly transform the way that you work in your workspace. So stay tuned till the end for this episode. Now, as we get started with this episode, it's important for us to have a clear definition of what exactly ergonomics is. Ergonomics is a term that gets thrown around, but very few people have a good understanding of what ergonomics is. Now, the definition of ergonomics is the applied science of how people and things can work together efficiently, effectively, and in the most safe way. So essentially, we want you and your workspace to fit together so that your workspace fits you and so that you can work comfortably, effectively in your workspace. It's like a puzzle piece. One piece is your workspace and the other piece is you. We want that puzzle piece to fit together in a way where things work seamlessly. There's no gap between the pieces. There's no forcing things to fit. There's no excessive friction that we encounter. No, we want it so that you fit perfectly within your workspace and your workspace supports you perfectly. So in order for us to organize ourselves with optimal ergonomics, it's important for us to design our workspace so it fits us effectively and so that we can effectively position ourselves and fit in our workspace. Now, what exactly does this mean when it comes to setting up your workspace so that it fits you? Well, there's two aspects of this. There's number one, the aspect of your workspace itself. How is your workspace set up? Whether that's sitting at a desk and setting up the right height of your monitor, the right height of your keyboard, having the right height of your chair so that you can work effectively within that workspace. Now, the second component is how you position yourself in that environment. You want to have optimal posture. This means that you're sitting upright, your shoulders are relaxed, that you're able to sit comfortably for longer periods of time. In order to position yourself this way, you want to have your desk set up in a way that supports that. So we have number one, the way that your desk is set up. And then we have number two, the way that you position yourself within that environment. When we can fit those two things together properly, this is how we can optimize the ergonomics of your workspace. Now, what does ergonomics have to do with the well-being of you and the workplace? Well, it's very simple. If you have to crane your head up, or you're rounding your shoulders down, or you have to shrug your shoulders in order to reach your keyboard, this is a very ineffective way to work. This is going to cause excess tension. This is going to be excess energy in order to actually get the work done. So this creates more resistance between you and the work that you're doing. This creates another hurdle in order for you to overcome in order to get your work done. And in order to get your work done in the most productive, the easiest, most effortless way, you want things to function smoothly. So when we can reduce any of that friction between you and your workspace, this is how we can make work seem so much smoother and effortless. The second component of how this improves well-being in the workplace, when you have optimal ergonomics and you can sit properly, your workspace supports you properly, we can reduce the risk of injury because so many times injuries happen in the workplace because of a poor ergonomic setup. We want ergonomics to support proper posture and body mechanics. When our body mechanics or our posture is off, this is where the risk of injury increases. So when we can optimize the ergonomics, we can optimize and reduce any risk of injury. I've seen so many injuries in the clinic as a result of workplace-related injuries. This is typically an excessive amount of expenses that get paid for by the company in order to treat work-related injuries. This is something that we can minimize and that we can reduce. And this is one of the low-hanging fruits of ways that we can reduce excessive healthcare costs related to workplace injuries. So by optimizing your workspace, optimizing your ergonomics, your posture, you can reduce any risk of injury. And the third way that ergonomics can improve well-being is because it allows you to use your body in the way that is designed. And the third way that optimal ergonomics can improve well-being is through allowing you to use your body in the way that it is designed, meaning the way that your bones, your muscles, your joints, your tendons and ligaments are all structured. Having optimal ergonomics allows you to use your body in the optimal way. This makes things so much easier. It also reduces any risk of developing arthritis or joint degeneration over time. Also can reduce the risk of headaches, neck injuries, all because we're using your body, your arms, your legs, your back, your head, using all of these body parts in a way that allows them to function optimally. Because if you have optimal ergonomics, it's going to allow you to focus, to allow you to use your body in the most optimal way. So optimizing your ergonomics not only allows you to optimize your physical well-being, but also your mental well-being. Because when you can work and function smoothly, easily, effortlessly, this allows your mind to be more focused, to keep attention on the task at hand, and to work at more of a way of peace, calm, relaxation. You don't have quite the distractions that you may have if something's aching, if you have a headache, or a body part is feeling pain or discomfort. All of those things can take our attention off in different directions. When we can reduce any sort of distractions, reduce any sort of nagging aches, pains, we can sit comfortably or we can stand comfortably. This can allow us to stay focused on the task at hand, to put your attention and your focus into the work that you're doing. This allows you to optimize not only the way that you show up at work, but also the way that your workplace functions. So if you're a leader and you're overseeing a team, check in with them, see how they fit within their workspace. Again, we're all shaped differently. Somebody may have extra needs in terms of they may need a special chair in order to let them sit up higher or lower, or they may need a special desk setup in order to have the monitor at the right height for them. Check in with your team and see if they have any needs that could help to support them better and how they can perform their work. Is there a special keyboard, monitor, chair? What can you do to support your team so that they can fit in an optimal way in their environment? How can you help them to optimize their ergonomics and help them to learn how to position themselves in their environment properly? Because again, if you can encourage and support your team in optimizing their ergonomics, you can optimize their well-being, and then ultimately that's going to help to optimize the well-being of the business. If you're a leader, check in with your team, see how you can support them, because this is only going to help you to optimize your productivity, your revenue, and ultimately how your business performs. So ergonomics, well-being, they're directly connected. And this is throughout all different industries, whether that's working in an office, at a desk, working from home at a standing desk, whether this is working in a factory on an assembly line. Ergonomics is something that in all industries is critically important. It's critically important in the way that we can focus and keep our attention on the task at hand. It's critically important in how we use our bodies and allow our bodies to function the way that they're designed. And it also allows us to reduce any risk of injury, because again, workplace-related injuries are one of the greatest expenses that can be prevented. That's your rundown on ergonomics, well-being in the workplace. If you like this episode, leave us a review. Let us know what you thought of this episode and how ergonomics helps you to optimize the well-being in your workplace. Thank you for joining me in this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. If you found this podcast valuable, we invite you to check out our free checklist, the 5 action items to optimize your workplace today. You can grab yours over at www.optiwellbeing.com. That's OPTI wellbeing.com. Get yours now, and we'll see you there.